We met earlier, but I'm Mark Cuddy, and I'm with Tributes.com, and today I've brought with me to talk about social media and the evolution of the obituary, Kristie Richie, who owns 4 funeral homes in Bedford, Lenox, Clarinda, and Corning. And apparently they both know some dead people. And this is John Dukes. Kind of what we're representing here is I have a company that has a specific avenue, the obituary. John is one of the top casket salesmen in the country today, and he has Iowa and several parts of a surrounding state for Aurora Casket, and then we have a funeral home owner. So we're going to get 3 perspectives on the social media aspect of the obituary. And I'll give a little introduction, and then they'll give their angle on it. But Tributes.com, as I said earlier, is a derivative of an idea from Jeff Taylor, who started Monster.com. And what he has done is decided about 4 years ago, we're a 4-year-old company, already doing about $3.2 million in revenue. We have about 3 million unique visitors per month at our website. And what we were looking at was what is going to happen to the obituary as newspapers become prohibitively expensive to run the obituary, and also generally are going out of business or are going to 1 or 2 days a week in publication. So we always say, if you die on the right day, we can get you in the paper. If you don't, we're going to have to hold that funeral a couple of days. So those kind of thoughts, and the fact that not everybody lives in their hometown anymore. About 4 out of 5 adult children don't live in the town they grew up in. And also the baby boomers, those born from 46 to 64, which I'm in that group, who are burying our parents. We have a much different approach than we just had 3 years ago to social media. That group of people didn't understand anything about much more than flipping their phone, and now 3 years later we have GPS in our dashboard, and we have iPads and Twitter, and we Skype with our kids, and we are very media savvy. And that boomers, and this is an interesting thing for you to look up, all of you, for your businesses, boomers in general are infophiles. We have learned from the Gen Xers, our kids, how to engage social media, how to engage information, and we have an unquenchable thirst to find out anything and everything we can, including about funeral service and about obituaries and about the celebration of a life well lived. So what we do for the funeral home is bring to them a platform for the obituary that connects to their existing website, that merely makes it easy for that family to connect with everybody. As soon as the funeral home uploads the obituary, they may upload, instead of the old days where it was one little picture and one little story, they can upload 100 pictures, they can upload music, they can upload anything that they want to, and they can continuously be uploaded to wrap their arms around that family for the future and to make it an ongoing cathartic and healing opportunity and location, particularly if you don't live there. So all those things add to the depth of the interaction with the funeral home and the family of the deceased, and that just creates a lot of activity and that social networking. As soon as they upload the obituary, it can be put in Twitter, it can be put on Facebook, it can be put into the internet in so many different ways, and it hasn't even been in the paper yet. The average newspaper obituary isn't usually for about 60 hours after death before it's even in there. Decades ago, the newspaper was where you went to confirm a rumor of somebody's death and to fill in the facts. Today, it's the last place you look to find out anything about anything, basically. So with that, we're going to answer questions if there are any. And I'm going to just kind of let Kristie and John talk a little bit about their interactions with their families that they serve and with the funeral homes that they serve. Kristie, you want to go?
Sure. Hi, thank you for having us here. We have been in the funeral business for almost 30 years. And in the last 15 years, things have changed a lot for us. And as the social media started out, my first thing was I had a family came from Des Moines that came down for a service we had in our community of Bedford. And they were talking out in the lobby, and we were visiting a little bit, and they were like, well, you know, we were Googling you and trying to find your website and everything to get directions. And I was like, why wouldn't you just call me? I would tell you how to get here. It's not that hard. You know, I'm thinking, why wouldn't you call? And as these people kept talking, I was just really made aware that there's this whole world out there that I wasn't really a part of yet. So with John's help, we decided to have a website. So we get the website, we get that going, and that's pretty good. Everybody likes it pretty much, and things are going along. And then we get introduced to Mark, and he has this whole other website design that we're providing for us. And as we're doing it, people can click on it, and they can get directions, and they can leave memories with the family, and they can upload a voice message. They can tell a story that gets recorded on our website now. And I'm uploading all these pictures, and they're putting out YouTube things, and I'm sitting back here going, wow, you know, I'm active in my small little community of 2,500 people serving these families that I love. And all of a sudden, I've got people from Des Moines and everywhere that are, you know, on our page, and I'm just really amazed at this. So then I have a girlfriend here in Des Moines who says, we went out for dinner one night, and let's get together. Oh, I said, well, give me your cell phone number, I'll text you. And she goes, oh, no, you have to Facebook me. And I'm like, Facebook? My kids do Facebook. They're in college. I'm like not on Facebook. I don't get the whole thing, you know. Oh, no, you got to be on Facebook. So anyway, she gets me on Facebook, and now the funeral home has a Facebook account too. So anyway, it has changed the way we've done everything. Just recently, we had a family that the gentleman wanted just he wanted to be cremated. He wanted a small little service, family only, gathered around the grave site. He didn't want folders, he didn't want a book, he didn't want anything. Well, when you're in a small town, everybody knows who you are. And as we were working with the family, we were deviating from his plan a little bit to provide folders and things for him. And I said, well, I went ahead and created this website for you on our web page. We do it, we make it for the family, we give it to the family, it becomes their property, they upload and do what they want to with it. And this family went from doing what he wanted, of just the little family gathering around the grave site, to bringing me about 100 pictures that I uploaded to the website. There's music. All these people are leaving memories. And because they didn't have the small town come into the funeral home for a couple hours, sign the book, visit with the family, it gave the people in the community a place that they could go to leave the information for the family. At the click of a button, they know, it amazes me that people look at my website every day to see who died. That's amazing to me, but they do. And so anyway, this family who really wasn't going to have much of anything, probably the greatest value outside of the service that we provided for them was this website that they now have, and that astounds me. And so to me, social media has changed so much in the last 15 years of funeral business, and I think we'll continue to do that. So,
thank you. One other point to Kristie's, that's such a great story, and I always say this to people that I'm dealing with, and you can tweet this because it's wonderful. When somebody dies, they lose their vote. The funeral service and all of those things are for the living, and that family, the dad who said, I want just this and this and this, he didn't know anything about social media, so he didn't know enough to tell him not to do any of that. And that gave them an outlet that will last for generations, for their children to see, and memories. And another thing that we were talking about at lunch today, if somebody says they don't want a visitation, you all know what a visitation is. If they say, I don't want that, you can honor that if you want, but your mom will have 200 little visitations over the course of the next year at the grocery store, at Casey's, at the bank, and when she's having a great day, somebody will come up crying and hug her, and she'll go, what is going on? And well, I haven't seen you since your husband passed away. So little things to think about, and social media just adds to that gives them that spot and that place. So John can talk about what he sees with the he calls on probably about 300 funeral homes.
Her situation is pretty typical of what I run into as a casket salesman. I don't really like to call myself a casket salesman. I try to be more of a funeral home consultant. I just happen to sell caskets on the side. So Kristie and her family are very typical of what we run into, which is they have a 3-day window to make a family happy, and they're really not looking beyond that 3 days. They do stuff with their heart, and sometimes they don't think about what other things they could be doing. So if you're a marketer in here and you're looking to really target a business to go after, to try to help them deal with social media and to try to get into the now times, boy, I'd target funeral homes all day long, because they are, she's very typical of what I run into. What I try to get through to them is what's going on out there. Your families, before they come into your funeral home, are doing research. They're talking to other people about, you know, what they did at their funeral, or what they did at their grandpa's funeral, or different things that can be achieved. And if you don't have that presence, you're really going to miss out.
Go ahead.
I think one of the big things of our website versus some of the other websites of other funeral homes that are out there, and you know, if you're from a small community, get on your funeral home's website and look and see what they have. But some websites don't allow you to go in and share a memory with the family. You know, I grew up in Northwest Iowa by Royal, Iowa, 26 kids in my graduating class, and this coach died, and he had been my 8th grade history teacher. And Warner Funeral Home up in Spencer's had him. And anyway, I got on the website, and I shared, somebody at his visitation needs to get up and do the preamble or the Gettysburg Address, because we learned that in 8th grade, and when you graduated your senior year, you had to recite one of them, or he wouldn't sign your thing for you to graduate. And I was able to share that, and then I was told that that was shared at the funeral because of what I had posted on, you know, and I've been out of school for 30 years. So it just turned out to be, you don't live where everything is anymore, but that really was, it gives you an outlet to share things.
We could go on for hours and tell great stories about the interactions that families have gained through the social media tools and through dealing with great funeral homes that have their heart in the right spot, and they do whatever the families ask. And what we're here today to talk about is that social media, that ability to take that obituary beyond the newspaper and beyond the website and to the whole world, has become such a integral part of those that have figured it out. And it has really helped the families, and it's really created a lot of situations that never would have been able to happen before, just like what Kristie said. People finding people. On tributes.com, we have every death listed that's occurred since 1930. And it's just something that in the future, when newspapers are gone, where are those obituaries and where are those records, permanent records of these lives well lived, going to be? So that's our goal, to get every obituary in the world online. And thank you. Any questions?
My parents are the kind of people who check obituaries religiously every morning.
That's just to make sure they're not in them.
There, yeah. I brought a long text. I wanted to just say how much I appreciated having something online with someone I love, who I was able to come home because on the other side of the world, just to have a place, an outlet to, you know, leave comments for the family and about their lives in real time, you know, and give it that wholeness.
That's a great point. She brought up the point that when it's online, no matter where you are in the world, you can get a hold of the family instead of going home next summer or 2 summers from now for the family reunion or the golf tournament and saying, "How's your dad?" "Well, he's fine. He's been dead for 18 months." You know, so this is another outlet for that. And also, I think I live in upstate New York, and I'm online on my hometown funeral home in Jefferson, Iowa. When I see somebody has passed away, I can send them a card, I can send flowers, I can make a call, I can leave a condolence during the funeral. and even go online and put, leave money to American Cancer Society through the funeral home. And those are things that before you never did until Mom remembered 6 months later to call and tell you that had happened. So, good point.
And if your funeral home doesn't have an interactive website where you can leave messages, encourage them to do that, because if all it's doing is posting that someone died, that doesn't give you an opportunity to share. So,
Mark Cuddy, tributes.com. Thank you. Appreciate it.